Hey, welcome to the Lawrence Sufrant Podcast. I am Lawrence Sufrant, and if you haven't already, please like and subscribe so you can be notified of future content. So the last few weeks, if you haven't, please go check out the 2 videos before this. This is part of a series. It's a brand new year. We are grinding. We are working smarter and harder, right? We have goals that we are setting. We have the mindset. If you haven't seen those 2 videos, please go check out those 2 videos on mindset and goals because it sets the platform for what we're going to talk about today. And today we are going to talk about vision casting. Now, in a lot of these leadership guru presentations and content, they tend to put goals and vision casting together. I separate them intentionally, and this is why. I see goals as the universal, general, abstract idea of what you want. So the goal of, let's say, getting a bigger house. See, a bigger house wouldn't even be a good goal. We want it to be a little more concrete. So I want a house, 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, 7 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, whatever that is, right? Notice how it's more concrete, but it's still very abstract. But at least it gives you something to work with, right? So the goal kind of works as your focal point for concentration. Look at it that way. It is the abstract idea of what you want that you can concentrate on and focus on so that it can become clearer. And by clearer, this is what I mean by vision. So before we get into vision casting, right, we need to be clear on vision. What do you really see? So if your goal is to lose weight, well, how much weight? Let's say 20 pounds. What do you expect to see when you lose 20 pounds? You have an idea. There's something there. Let's crystallize it. Is it just to, fit a certain pant size? Are you excited about that? Or is there a way that you expect your body to look? The more detailed, this is where you get really detailed. The more detail you have, the better. So like, what's the waist to hip ratio, or, what size are your arms or your chest? Where do you see the cuts? The six pack, what does it actually look like? There's several different forms of six packs, but what's the one that you see on you when you reach that certain goal? When you say you want, let's say, a 5-bedroom house, cool, beautiful, 5 bedrooms. What's the layout of the house? We talked about the bedrooms and the bathroom, cool, but a house is more than just bedroom and bathrooms. So what does the kitchen look like? What does the living room look like? Are there stairs, or is it ranch style? Is it open concept? Do you have 2 kitchens? Do you have a double stove? Right now, in the vision, we're becoming very, very particular. And this requires great discipline and commitment. Now, I'm using these words because this is the part where emotion is connected, but we're not driven emotionally. What do I mean by this? You have to take the time to crystallize your vision every day until it is crystal clear, regardless of how you feel about the process of crystallizing it. I'm already going to give you a hack because I've done this plenty of times. During this process of crystallizing your vision, you're going to have like fleeing thoughts of doubt. Oh, I could never get that. Oh, that's going to be too expensive. Oh, it's going to take me too long to get there. Your discipline, your commitment is to literally override those thoughts. And this is how you do it. When those thoughts start to come, this is what I want you to ask yourself. Even if I can't get it, what would it look like if I could? Simple question. Because now you've already entertained the doubts, right? You gave it some attention. You settled it now. Okay. Oh, man, this is going to be too expensive. All right, it's going to be too expensive. But if it wasn't too expensive, let's say I could afford it, how would I want it to look? It's a beautiful mental exercise because it teaches you to not allow to depend too much on your feelings. You know how many decisions we abandoned because we woke up one day and said, yo, this is too much? I don't want you to ever say something is too much if you didn't even get started. Don't say it's too much when you're still thinking about it, when you're still in the process of crystallizing it. Don't say it's too much. How do you know? How do you know what too much is when you never got started? And remember, when I said goals, I said no time limits. Why did I say that? Because time is a distractor. It discourages you. When you say, I want to lose 50 pounds in a month, it's most likely not going to happen. And if you hear that, then you say, then I'm not going to lose any weight. No. You can lose 50 pounds, maybe not in a month, but you can lose 50 pounds. So instead of focusing on how long it takes, just focus on the process of losing the weight. Now we're taking it a step further. What do you expect to look like when you lose the weight? The reason why this step is so important is because as you're going through your journey, when you make it to 50 pounds, if you don't look like how you want to look like, you already have the vision of what you want to look like. So now you're going to shift kind of what the goal is. We now create new goals. So this is how I think about it. If I were to draw a diagram, you're going up the mountain and you reach a peak. That peak is now you hit whatever goal that was. $100,000 in a year, 20 pounds in a year, whatever. You reach whatever that goal. Minus the time. You reach the 100,000, you reach the 20 pounds. Okay, you reach that. But life doesn't look like what you thought it would look like. But from this vantage point, you can see the next mountain. So now you're going to climb up that mountain, hit that point, and now you have a new vantage point until you finally get to the space that you want to be. You know who do this all the time? Bodybuilders. Year after year, they train, they diet, they rest, and they see what their results were in those 16 weeks, 18 weeks, 20 weeks. And if they're not quite where they want to be, they still compete. They see where they rank. Then they go back and they sharpen it more and more until they see what they've envisioned in their brain. I'm telling you to do the same thing when it comes to your goals. To turn those goals into actual visions, because the vision is measurable. Now we're talking, okay, I want to see, I don't know, cuts right here in my chest. I want my chest to pop out. I want when I wear a t-shirt, my chest pops out and it just hang, right? That I can look forward to that. And as I'm losing the weight and as I'm building the muscle, I'm paying attention to that vision. I'm envisioning it, then I'm looking at myself and saying, okay, I still need to sharpen up here. I still need to sharpen up there. The other thing about crystallizing your vision, this is a good one right here. Write this down. When you crystallize the vision, it helps you learn the right questions. Because you've never been there. Wherever you're trying to go, I'm assuming you've never been there. If you've never been there, you don't quite know how to get there. But as you crystallize your vision, you start to ask the right questions. So if I stay with the body, for example, if I want my chest to pop out, and I'm envisioning that, now it's no longer I just want to lose 50 pounds. Okay, I got that. But if I'm saying, okay, when I lose 50 pounds, I'm expecting my chest to pop out. Now I can ask those questions. What type of chest workouts should I do so that my chest can be more defined? That might not have been a question I asked myself when I just had the goal of losing 50 pounds. When I had that goal, I'm looking up, how do I lose 50 pounds, right? Or how do I lose fat? How do I lose? And I'm going to get great information on that. And that's one dimension of the overall thing that I'm going after. That's one goal. But the vision now is tied to something far more measurable. And it gives me new questions to ask. Okay, so I want a 3,500 square foot house with 7 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms. Well, what would the layout have to be for that type of house to be functional and to flow? That's a whole different question from just what are the 7 bedrooms, 6 bathroom houses available on the market? That's still a good question because as you're looking at these houses, you're getting what I call inspiration. So let me break down this word inspiration. Inspiration is when you find an idea that resonates with your internal thoughts. So you have this thought in your mind. I want this, I want that. Now it's just here, it's all in your brain. Then as you start to look at different things, certain aspects of whatever you're looking at pop out at you. They resonate with you. In other words, you're looking at it and internally you're responding to what you're looking at. That's what I mean by inspiration in this context. In this context. I saw that kitchen and that kitchen fits the vision that I have of the house. Or I saw this layout of the bedrooms and that layout fits the vision that I had for the house. How do I know? Because when I saw it, it resonated. I responded internally to what I'm seeing externally. You might go through hundreds of pictures But then when you find the one that inspires you, or the five, whatever that is, now you're giving your subconscious information to build on. Why do you think they call it vision boards? You saw it in the magazine, you saw it on the internet, wherever you printed it out, and you put it on that board. So every time you look at it, you're reminding your subconscious as to what you're working towards. You're keeping your mind engaged on what the vision is that was fueled by the initial goal, right? So we're making the goal crystal clear. That's really what the vision is making the goal crystal clear. Every detail down to the sweat, you know what I mean? Like down to the smell of the house. When you walk into the house, what does it smell like? You know, what do the floors feel like? Like I want you to get as detailed as possible. So here's why it takes commitment and discipline. That first sitting, it gets a little clear, but it's not going to be crystal clear for most of us. Some of you, your mind is powerful, and you're going to sit down one time, and it's all going to be there. And I applaud you. You have a gift. For most of us, it's only going to get a little more clear. It's like focusing the lens, right? It's blurry, but as you make those turns, it gets clearer and clearer and clearer. And the only reason why it takes so long is because you've never seen it before. You see it in an abstract perspective, which is what the goal is, but you never seen it like in terms of a measurable blueprint, an actual plan. Now we're going to talk about planning later because I want to take my time there. But once you have the vision clear, you can move for the plan. So before you get to the plan, you want to get to what I call the vision casting. So the vision casting now is the ability to communicate what you see. So in the beginning, you might not have the words, and that's okay. I don't want you to feel any shame or judgment in this process because the unknown is part of the process. You don't have the words to articulate it. You can't quite help another person see what you see because you don't have the details. But that's okay as long as you don't stay there. As you're crystallizing your vision, as it's becoming clearer and clearer, what are you doing? Of course, you're writing it down. Why are you writing it down? Because it is exercising your ability to make it plain. And as you write it down, you're going to look at it and you're going to realize, this don't really make sense. I need to find a way to describe this better. I need to find a way to make this more clear. It is a process that you go through every day, and your mind and your brain is working. And not only that, there are things moving around, forces moving around in reality to bring this to your fruition. Like it's designed to fruition, meaning to produce fruit, right? It is becoming materialized the more you think about it. And the better you are in casting the vision. Think about this word casting, similar to like casting a spell, right? It is the language that you use that articulates with clarity the vision that you see. So if you're talking to a complete stranger and they ask you, what's your goal? They're not asking for the abstract version. They want that crystallized vision. They're really asking for your vision. They may not say that, but that's what they're asking for. What's your vision? Now, if you do content creation or you work with producers, they'll ask that question. So this show idea that you have, what are you seeing? They'll ask that question. What are you seeing in this show? They want to get an idea as to what's happening in your brain. You can't effectively do that if you haven't been practicing effective vision casting. So the first thing you want to do, well, the way I would look at it is that you're creating an outline. You have your goal on top. This is the goal. Then you're going to ask yourself, what does it look like? What does it feel like? Now, we already described what it looks like. Let me dive into what does it feel like. What does it feel like has two contexts to it. What does it feel like externally? Meaning like literal feeling. Is it hard? Is it soft? Is it rough? Is it smooth, right? We're going to expand your vocabulary. What does it feel like externally? But what does it feel like internally? Like what's the feeling that you invoke, that you believe will occur when you enter into that space, whether it's a house or a body or a certain amount of money or a certain amount of followers, right? Whatever, it doesn't matter. What does it feel like? Now, this is where, if you don't have any words for your internal feelings, this is where poetry comes into play. Poetry is so powerful. You can say something like, it feels like a bed of rose petals that are slightly dry, but moist enough to where it won't crumble when you squeeze the petals. Laying on it while the petals are caressing the back. Every crevice of my back, feeling the edge of a petal, but not sharp, but almost like soothing, almost like a gentle massage with the rose. You're envisioning all of that, right? It's naturally coming to the mind because of how I'm using the language. So if I say it feels, when I walk into this room, I want to feel like I'm the most important person in the world, where everything stops just to greet me when I enter into the door. That's a beautiful feeling that you can imagine, even if you've never experienced it for yourself. This is the type of language, these feeling type of language is so important in your vision casting because it helps other people, and you're gonna need other people. If you don't know this, I'm gonna tell you now. Most of the goals that you're going after requires other people's support. I hope that doesn't scare you away, but this is why I'm so big on building community. Because even something like weight loss, in your brain, you're like, well, I don't need nobody for weight loss. Yes, you do. You need somebody that's gonna hold you accountable. You need somebody that's gonna give you encouragement. You need somebody that's gonna get you back on the straight when you convince yourself that you've already done enough. When you said you're gonna lose 50 pounds, but you lost 40 pounds, and you're like, you know what? I think I'm good here. Not because you look like what you wanna look like, but because you're just tired of the process. You need that other person to say, are you really good here? Because you told me that you wanted your arms to look like, and you told me you wanted your legs to look like this. Are you there yet? Right? You need that other person, because sometimes you will convince yourself to be mediocre. We do it all the time. You know, when we say things like, oh, this is good enough, what we're really saying is, it's not what I wanted, but I'm tired. I want to quit now. So this is good enough. I know I said I'm going to fast for 24 hours, but 20 hours that's good enough. I don't want you to feel embarrassed or shame if you quit, but I also want you to be honest with yourself and say, I didn't reach my goal. And I didn't reach my goal because I got tired. And maybe if you had some support, a friend that you can call and say, I got 4 more hours, bro, and I'm ready to quit. That friend will be able to sustain you for those last 4 hours. There's no shame in that. So your vision casting is how you're able to grow and develop your community. So what does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? Here's a great experiment. I want you to go to, I'm not about to shout out no stores because they ain't sponsoring me. Look, y'all almost got a free commercial out of me. But go to a store that sells candles, right? And just smell the different scents. Remember what I told you about the vision, how it inspires you? When you see it, you internally respond like this is it. Same thing's gonna happen with the smells. If you've never done it, just take my word for it. Smell multiple scents. And when you find the scent that you want, this is it. Now you can describe, it's gonna smell like whatever scent that is. And if you have the money, buy that candle. And every time you meditate, light that candle. So you're reminded of the fragrance of the smell of your goal. Whatever it is. Like for me, when I think about my summer body, where I have that God status, like whoop, 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 right? I think about like warm cinnamon, right? Like, I don't know, to me that just smells sexy, you know, like cinnamon mixed with some vanilla and tobacco type. Whoa! If I could find that scent, that's what my new summer body smells like. I'm gonna go buy that candle immediately. And if you're in the candle business and you have something like that, go ahead and send it to your boy. I'm gonna light that every time I meditate because I'm training my mind. All this is back connected to the mind. So what does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? Watch this. What does it sound like? Does it sound like silence? You know silence has a sound? Have you ever sat in silence and realized how noisy it actually is? Does it smell like birds, or does it smell like the beach? Does it sound like waves crashing? Does it sound like rain falling? What does it sound like? Does it sound like smooth jazz? Does it sound like 90s hip hop? Yeah. What does it sound like? See, what I'm really doing, I'm gonna give this hack for those who kind of know. I'm gonna say it. Some of you, this might go over your head. I'm not gonna explain it now. Maybe later. If you want me to break it down, you already know what to do. Put it in the comments. But what I'm really doing is teaching you how to convert your vision into different forms of energy. Now we're dealing with energy synchronism, where everything is vibrating at the same frequency. That's the color, that's the smell, that's the texture, that's what it looks like, the shapes, all of that. We're now, this might be too heavy for some of you, but we are converting all this stuff into a similar frequency. Because that's how we're going to train our mind, by surrounding ourselves with these things. But before we get there, we're finding the language to describe it. And you know what? You could even do this as an experiment. Put your language in AI and see what it describes for you. See what it comes up with. You might be surprised of the imagery that comes from the scent, from the sound, from the texture, from what it feels like, right? You have these four things: what it looks like, what it feels like, what it smells like, what it sounds like. If you could have those four things in language, literally in words, now you're able to successfully articulate your vision casting. So let me try to give you an example off the top of my head. Let's say my goal is to help 1,000 Black fathers elevate their presence in their child's life. 1,000 Black men. All right. What does that look like? I'm envisioning a conference with 2,500 Black men in there, but the 1,000 that's actually ready in that room. And they're all sitting, not necessarily on folded chairs, but they're almost sitting at like tables, like benches with tables, or comfortable chairs in this table. So we're looking at tables where 2,500 people could sit, and they have notepads, and they're dressed casually, but not lazy, like a business casual. And they all look good, they're well-groomed, and they smell good because they came with business, right? What does smelling good look like? What does it smell like? It smells like cologne. I'm not going to drop no names or let they sponsor me, but it smells like expensive cologne, right? It smells like money in there. It smells like brothers who not just wash themselves, but moisturize themselves in coconut oil and cocoa butter. And then they have that cologne on top of it that smells like not like musk, but almost like a hint of just that masculine fragrance. I don't want to, what does it feel like? It feels empowering, because every brother in there knows that the goal here is to increase their presence in their children's life. But it also feels a little intimidating, because every man doesn't know where they measure up in comparison to the other man. And so they're trying to figure out, am I the worst amongst them? Am I the best amongst them? So there's a slight tension there, but also a camaraderie, a brotherhood that says, no matter where I am, I know that these are all brothers that are of one accord with me. So that's the empowering aspect of it. But it also feels like internally, to me, it feels slightly overwhelming, because I recognize that these are 2,500 brothers that are trusting me with their real life, but 1,000 of them that I know are going to actually put it into practice. And so that feeling is going to make sure that the messages and the workshops and the other presenters that I bring are going to deliver nothing but the best, because that's what these brothers deserve. That's what it feels like. It also feels vulnerable, but safe, right? Can you imagine a space where we're about to get really deep into what our deficiencies and our limitations and our insecurities are. But we also know that whatever we share and whatever we experience, it doesn't leave this room. Every brother there is a vault that will store the secrets for all eternity, right? What does this sound like? It has a deep tone, the type of tone that even with all the chaos, it's able to penetrate through all the noise. It's a deep humming, like a rumble almost, that like the beginning of an earthquake. That's what it sounds like because of the power in that room. And these brothers, it's almost like we're marching in sync. Like every time we take a step forward, all the earth starts to shake. That rumbling, that's what it sounds like. I'm casting a vision. So if I'm with a team of people, they can take that and say, okay, we're going to have to find this type of space. We're going to have to get these type of chairs. We're going to have the banners this way. The lighting is going to be that way. They have an idea as to what I see. And that's just off the cuff. Now imagine if I sat here months at a time, crystallizing that vision. Now I can get into the colors. I see brown and gold and black and white and nothing but classic colors, bold, classic color, right? I can go deeper and deeper, clarifying the vision, but having the language versus I see a bunch of guys in the room and it's gonna be 8 hours and every hour we're gonna do a presentation and then we're gonna break out into sessions. Then we're gonna do lunch and then it's over. Okay, what is anybody supposed to do with that? That doesn't tell you much. I don't see it. I can't see it. Or what I do see is so mediocre that I'm not really willing to invest in that. I don't know what that is. And for a lot of us, our issue isn't the fact that we don't have goals. Our issue is that we don't have vision. We haven't taken the time to really crystallize and clarify what it is that we see. It's like if I'm talking to my wife, let's really get practical, all the husbands. If I want to have a conversation with my wife and I say, babe, I love our marriage, but I want you to respect me more. What is she supposed to do with that? Of course you're going to ask the question, well, what do you mean by respect you more? Like, you saying I don't respect you? No, babe, you do respect me, but I think you could respect me more. Like more respect. What is she supposed to do with that? And how many of you have been communicating your so-called goals and visions that way? I just want more, or I want less, or it's your tone. What it is about my tone, I don't know. I don't quite have the words, but your tone, it just doesn't feel good. What does it feel like? I don't know. I just don't like it. Brother, it's your vision casting. That's the problem. It's not that you don't know what you want necessarily. You haven't developed the language to articulate exactly what you're looking for. And you probably don't have the language because you haven't received the inspiration. And you haven't been receiving the inspiration because you haven't been doing the work of concentrating that goal into something more concrete. So ways that you can get inspiration, like I already said, browsing through the internet, social media, all that's cool. But a shortcut, if you don't want to waste the time, you want to cut through the chase, a shortcut is hiring a coach. That's literally the job of a coach. To say, hey, this is all I got. Help me to have more. Like, I don't have the language, but we're going to sit here and we're going to talk about it. And your coach kind of acts like an accountability, but also a guide to give you the language. And what I love about coaching is that it's not forever. It's till we get to a certain point. It takes as long as it takes, and it depends on you. What do you want? If you don't know, we're going to take some time. But coaching, hiring a good coach like myself or some other brothers can really help cut through the chase so that you can really find the language. But if you don't want to use a coach, you could use AI. Now, here's the thing about AI. I love AI as a starting point, but AI can't see what you see. And AI can be wrong about a lot of things. AI has been wrong about quite a few things. So you don't want to depend on AI. But if you have nothing else, sure, go to ChatGPT and say, I'm trying to do this, or this is what I want. Give me some ideas, and then build off of that, right? Look at it, challenge it, ask questions. If you don't understand it, then help it break it down even further. But more important, if it doesn't resonate with you, if you're reading it and it's like, I'm not feeling none of this, I'm not responding to any of it, then dig deeper. Say, hey, I need more. But look at it and say, give me more of this, give me more, break down more of that, or whatever, right? However you engage with AI. I do believe dealing with a person is far better. But if you can't afford that, or you just don't have the time or whatever, then deal with AI. AI will give you some great instructions, but that's just the beginning. At some point, you know that your vision is clear when you have stated it, you have it written down, and you're reading it, and you say, this is it. Now, when I say this is it, I want to be clear. This is not the eternal it. This is the it until you get more inspiration. You won't get more inspiration until you move to the planning phase and then the execution phase. See, right now, we've only been dealing with stuff that you can kind of do solo. But next, we're going to move into the planning stage, which you can do solo for a little bit, and then the execution stage. The execution stage is where you get most of your feedback. This is where you really get to see, is my vision clear or not? Execution. But we're not going to jump there yet. We still got some time. I hope this blessed you. If you have any questions or concerns, leave it in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Lawrence Front, and I'm out.